Can you add a moment, a cubic, an hour, height to your life? These are all various quotes from various versions of the Bible, all based on Matthew chapter 6, verse 27, which I was using as an illustration yesterday. As I said, it is very important and it's very beneficial to use various versions, because sometimes you can be reading, okay, can you add a cubic of measure to your life? And you're like, okay, let me just go to the next verse and become too lazy to even look at a dictionary. But if you approach your Bible study the way you approached your studies back at school, where you would look through the dictionary, where you'd find additional resources, then you will gain so much more. So ask yourself at the end of the day, am I investing in a Bible study just to tick it off as something that I have done, or am I investing in a Bible study so that I can grow, both spiritually, both as a person, and in my understanding of who God is? Because when you understand it and use various Bible versions, you'll understand, okay, fine, this one spoke about cubics. That's not a familiar term for everyone, like in an everyday life situation or an example. But when you understand, okay, at 1 hour, and then you consider an hour and you ask yourself, okay, fine, here they're talking, can I add an hour to my life? Then you consider an hour of your life, an hour in your day, and then you realize, okay, life is short. So is this pointless thing that I am worrying about, will it be important in the next hour? Is this thing a do or die? Even if it seems like a do or die moment at that time, it doesn't necessarily mean that 5 years from now, it'll matter. Whereas if I had instead used my energy, used my time to focus on what matters most in my life. Who matters most in my life right now? Is it the situation? Is it this pain? Then you begin to see that actually worrying is just one more stumbling block that you place inside your life. Because when you decide, okay, fine, I'm not going to focus on the worrying. I'm going to focus on God. I'm going to focus on my friends. I'm going to focus on my family. I'm going to focus on everything positive that's going on in my life right now and practice gratitude. Then you gain power. Whereas when you just read the Bible just to tick it off, as in one more verse I learned, then you wouldn't have understood the message behind it. Because when you start looking at it and the fact that it says, has anyone by fasting in front of the mirror gotten taller, then you realize, okay, fine, I can't do something meaningless as grow taller. Maybe that's talking about the physical body. That could also mean it's taking away from your health, because your heart is going to be strained. When you break down the Bible verses that way, then you are able to start asking questions. Like, what is it taking it away? What am I gaining? What am I losing? What is receiving glory from the situation right now? Is my worrying glorifying God? Is my worrying helping me become a better person? Am I going to become who I want to become? If I sit right here, sulk and eating, I'm just going to cry and whine. Because at the end of the day, that's not what's going to happen. Instead, you're going to go backwards. That's this concept that I sometimes say to my children. Are you growing backwards, or do you want to grow forward? Because a tree that is growing upwards, it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's receiving and it's producing something. Whereas if it decides to not grow, then that means it's going to its roots. That means it's dying. So the same goes with you. You are either going to do what you're supposed to do in this life, grow grow towards the light, grow towards your maker, grow towards God. That is the beauty about plants, because just like Nati, we're supposed to be growing up towards God. But instead, if we allow ourselves not to grow, then it means we're growing towards the ground. That means because we return to dust, we grow towards our Creator. That is a decision that we make through each and every single situation that we will face in this life. So that is an interesting way, you try to approach your Bible studies so that you can understand what is being said and what it means for your life. Then you'll begin to ask these questions that will help you either snap out of the situation that you are in, see a new perspective about God. Because when you understand, okay, fine, God, Jesus was asking, okay, can this add anything to your life? That is him trying to say, I'm the only one that's going to add something to your life. Not your worrying. Your worrying is not going to add anything to your life. It's actually just going to take away an hour. It's going to take away a precious moment in your life that you will never get back. Whereas if you chose to use that moment to glorify God, to say, to even use that moment to spend it with your family, to spend it with your friends, then at the end of the day, you would have given them a memory. So the question is, would you rather trade in a moment and give it to worry? Or would you rather create a memory or create one more block that will strengthen your relationship with God? So tomorrow I'll be introducing more tips that you can use, but this was just an example from one passage in the Bible where you can simply take one verse, using different versions so you can understand it in a more profound way. Bible study and reading the Bible doesn't need to be just some mundane thing that you tick off as part of your spiritual experience, but it can be something that brings you closer to God and shines light. I hope this blesses you, and I hope you have a blessed day. This was Sibusiso, aka Redeemed. Until next time.